Welcome into the television version of Strategies for Living. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. I'm delighted that you've tuned in, joined with me today here on Strategies for Living. Well, we're all about helping us live healthier, happier, more peaceful lives in our bodies, in our minds, in our spirits, and our relationships. We're catching all of them today, guys.
What the heck are we here for then?
Where's the lint brush?
True confession time.
Yeah. Throw him off already.
There's some things, I'm old, so there's some things that I can't do without. I cannot do without my cup of coffee in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do without my newspaper because I am old.
Okay.
And I can't do without Robert and Aaron on News Radio 710 Keel. It's not a day. It's not a day.
Wow.
Unless it starts with Robert and Aaron.
Do you feel sincerity?
My butt kind of itches.
Does that mean, is
Can I
that
say that
usually
on TV?
No, well, you just did. Is that the sign? And I don't have that dump button that
Yeah,
y'all
you
are talking.
don't.
You especially talk about that dump button when he's not there more.
Yeah.
You know.
I had a rough
What's
week.
the deal?
I had a rough week last week.
Yeah, you did have a rough week.
I was, yeah.
Dan Keel kind of kept you in.
Tried.
Did he his
There
best?
was a meeting in my absence.
Yeah, there was.
That I don't know much about other than she's been apologizing. Today was my first day back from vacation.
I'm no longer allowed to say shiznit.
No, she's not.
I
There's
don't
a
know.
couple other words like that.
I can't imagine why. Robert and Aaron, welcome back to Strategies for Living. You are one of my favorite, you're both my favorite life strategists, so thank you for being here.
We're glad we could bring a little dignity to the show.
You've appeared so often now that we're going to give you the permanent life strategist plaque after this broadcast.
We are the Steve Martin guest host equivalent of strategists.
That's
we'll come
exactly
anytime,
right.
David.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Thank you. I'm
Absolutely.
counting on that. So what's been going on since last we visited?
Ooh, well, we're about to hit, in 2016, we're about to hit 20 years.
That's a year away.
20
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, we started together.
It'll be here like that.
No.
You know how this is
Months
going.
away, Robert.
We started on, we were just saying, on 94.5, K94.5 in August of 1996.
Wow.
And we always forget. When the anniversary, whatever it happens to be, is approaching, we'll go, in 1 week it'll be 10 years, in 5 days it'll be 20 years, or whatever. And then the day gets, and we totally forget.
And
then
we never get our watches.
And no.
One day.
20
years. They've got to give you the gold watch at 20 years.
Yeah, we're hoping we have a roast at 20 years, and you get to come roast us if you
I
like.
cannot wait. I'm lining
There's
up
a
in my
long
mind.
list of people who want to do that, believe it or not.
I'm lining up in my mind.
5 of them are lawyers.
The DS.
Yes, yeah, it's going to be a crazy, crazy night, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But we've missed you. This is a cool facility. I love
Thank
these
you.
kids.
Thank you for being here as always. So you guys have so much fun. How do you do that? How do you make it sound so fresh?
We pass out at 9
every morning. Yeah.
We do. We nap.
yeah.
We must nap.
Yeah.
It's a serious. You know what? And this is our first real year where we've had this huge election stuff going on.
I want to talk about that a little bit today.
We've had to be kind of entrenched in all that.
Yeah.
And that's like, sometimes I don't want to pay attention. You know,
Yeah,
you're tired
yeah,
of it. But
yeah.
he's good about, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. He stays on top of all that stuff.
Yeah. Is it hard to you obviously both went to vote.
You bet.
You obviously both have your candidates of choice.
Mm-hmm. We cancel each other out.
Voted in Texas 4 times.
But you do a good job of balance. Most of the time I can't tell what you guys are thinking. Most of the time.
I thought he said he listened. that was horrible. I think I just dropped the microphone. Hang on.
We try to stay in the middle of the road, and we try to get both sides of the
both
sides of an issue.
You do.
We try. And there's going to be days when I call people idiots because you're just a moron.
What did you say this morning? You didn't use the word idiot. You were talking about the governor's office.
About all the expanding.
The expanding.
How much time do you have? She'll tell the story. It's amazing.
Oh, I started working in this as a news person 30-some years ago.
Yeah.
And at the time, each state agency had one media specialist.
Right.
And they actually had to type news
the
releases
old typewriter,
and lick a stamp and mail it to me.
Yeah.
And then they'd call me on the phone, for follow-up. Hey, do you want to interview so-and-so?
Yeah.
And now, if you look on the state's website, all of these state agencies have 8 to 10 media specialists, PR people, communications experts, and they all make over $100,000 a year.
Probably making 6 figures a year, every one of them.
And all they do now is hit the send button to send news releases. And it sends to every media outlet.
Yeah, and
in
you were
this-
talking about being inundated on Friday,
Oh,
right?
and I get a
they
zillion.
the quota's behind.
They have to have some sort of quota. Because I get 20 emails on a Friday, and many of them are like, so-and-so, David McMillan's been appointed to the Boll Weevil Commission.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you for, and
yes,
thanks for sending
yes.
out that individual email. I really had to have that.
And on top of that, not only do you have the seemingly infinite expanding staffs, salaries, lawyers, but then we got off on a tangent about just talking about the pension liabilities of the state. That Louisiana right now has a pension liability in excess of $20 billion
A year.
which seems like, well, when all the people retire.
Right.
Sure.
But we're adding more employees and it's expanding all the time.
Of course.
In the Jindal administration alone, a conservative Republican, he's added how many jobs was it? Was it like 6,000?
It's a bunch of jobs. It's like 6,000 to 9,000 jobs. Now, he says he's cut jobs, but what's happened is that the hospital system has been privatized. So all those jobs are technically not state jobs.
Right.
So on top
whatever.
of that, you think $20 billion in pension liability. And then you look at a state like Illinois, which is approaching $500 million in unfunded pension liabilities. And then you take the next day, there are a number of young people behind the cameras right now. Kid, turn the camera off, go to work for the post office. I'm not lying.
Get a
Trust me
government
on this.
job, yeah.
Schlep stamps for 20 years. You start when you're 25, you retire when you're 55. You will at least live another 25 years, and if you're making 75 grand, that's your pension.
Thank you, Robert. You just got my show canceled. Thank you.
Yeah.
But you know, to see our governor go out and talk about how wonderful he's managed our state, and it really makes you think, these people are morons. And we've fallen for it for so many years, David, and just to look back
What's
at
the answer, guys?
And those are the small government people. Those are the small government people.
Yeah.
When you get to the left side, the Dems, the Bernie Sanders of the world. College is free, by the way, if you guys hadn't heard. Sorry, my head almost blew up.
The answer is
That would make good TV if you could make that happen.
would be
Yeah,
Go
you're
ahead. I'm
right.
sorry.
I can only do it
Yeah,
once.
you gotta have checks and balances. You've got to have a legislature who steps in and goes, no,
Yeah.
we're not going to do this.
Yeah.
And the governor in our state is now so powerful that checks and balances system in our state, it's wiped away.
Gone away.
But when government becomes, and I'm certainly not the first to say, when government becomes Santa Claus, when watch a Democrat debate, what's not free, what's not going to be given away, what aren't they going to give to A, B, or C? Bernie Sanders, college should be free. Well, wait a second, somebody's got to pay.
Yeah.
And then you get into the whole discussion of rights versus responsibilities, which we could do a half hour to 45 minutes on.
Yes, we
You know,
could. Yeah, we could.
You've got rights, you've got responsibilities.
Absolutely.
She's got rights, but free college, none of the responsibility.
Yeah.
And there's any number of avenues you can wander down discussing that topic.
It just makes my blood pressure go through the roof. And it really, and we've lost control. And we're not the only state. It's the federal government.
When you open up a topic like that in the morning, the phone has to light up.
Our phone did light up
Yeah,
today. Our
yeah.
phone definitely lit up.
But that's not why it lit up, Dave. I mean, it did for a segment or two.
Yeah.
But the real topic,
But lit
The
the
real
phones
top-
up.
my friend, the real
Are you going to really go there?
topic
I think
of
he's
discussion.
going there.
I think he
he's
is.
going there.
Now,
I think I know where he's
you are
going.
a man of education, insight, immeasurable logic.
Boy, do I have him fooled. Go ahead.
So Sunday morning at 2 a.m., when we went off of daylight savings time, you, David McMillan, forgot to change your clock. Church the next morning is at 10. Are you early or late?
Well, I think I'll be early.
You're right, David. He's an idiot.
But David, if the rest
You're not going to win this.
if the rest of the world is an hour ahead and you're an hour behind and you're an hour ahead, you'd be an hour late, right?
No, he's wrong.
He's confusing.
He is. He
Did he do
tries
this to you?
He
Did
did
he-
this
did
all
he do
morning.
this to you this
He did this
morning?
to all our listeners. We had dozens of folks call and tell him what an idiot he
Well,
was.
former
but he
listeners now.
still-
Former listeners now.
He still kept fighting it. He still kept fighting it.
He
He's
got it
just
right
trying
the
to
first
confuse
time.
me.
He's a brilliant
Spring,
man.
Yeah.
spring ahead in the spring, fall back in the fall.
And the reason I know I'm right is because I was early for church this weekend.
There you go. I didn't worry about it because
I went twice.
Yeah.
my iPhone did it. My iPhone, that's my alarm
Yeah,
clock,
exactly.
so I didn't have
And
to
you know,
worry.
that's the funny thing. He brings that up. The silliest things spark our listeners.
Yeah.
I mean, it could
Yeah.
be a silly sports story. It could be some sort of thing going on in Hollywood. We never know.
Yeah.
You never know what'll happen.
Yeah.
You know, the weird, Halloween things, the weird things we find that are going on in other states that are just like the Colorado marijuana thing, that people just want to go crazy about these things.
It's
Did
part
you
of,
know-
part of the addictiveness of the program, I think, is that unpredictability.
Did you know at State University of New York at Geneseo, they had a hotline where students could call and get advice on whether or not their costumes were politically correct? And
Well, I heard that on. I didn't know until I listened to Robert and Aaron and found that.
were
out.
you
Yeah.
guilty of microaggression, David? You could have been. And if you had a jack-o'-lantern, a pumpkin on your porch, you are contributing to global warming because as they decay, I'm not making this up, as they decay, they are emitting methane, which is twice as hazardous to the atmosphere as CO2.
Thank
Lock
goodness.
them up.
Thank
Lock 'em
goodness I
all
didn't
up.
have a
Pumpkin
jack-o'-lantern.
offenders, yeah.
Pumpkin offender. We've got much more to talk about with Robert and Aaron from News Radio 710 Keel. Robert and Aaron in the morning, and you can hear them Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 on News Radio 710 Keel. We will be right back with much more with life strategist Robert J. Wright and Aaron McCarty right here on
Yeah, I'm the guy you want to
at
listen
Strategies
to.
for Living.
Why
Yeah.
My son would ruin himself with alcohol. Breaks my heart. I don't understand why this is happening. My therapist recommended Al-Anon family groups. I didn't want to go to Al-Anon, but I'm glad I went. Is someone's drinking breaking your heart? You might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
I'm a wife.
A sister.
And a grandfather.
I'm an office clerk.
I'm a research analyst.
Dance fitness instructor.
Actor.
I'm a copywriter.
I'm a veteran.
I have lupus.
Cerebral palsy.
I'm blind.
And I'm working in a job I love.
I love
Because I was given a chance.
To contribute my skills and talents.
To show that my disability
is only one part of who I am.
Who I am.
who I am.
At work, it's what people can do that matters.
For more information, visit whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
My husband drinks with friends after work. He has a couple of drinks at home with dinner, and a few more while we watch TV. A counselor recommended I try Al-Anon family groups. I didn't want to go to Al-Anon, but I'm sure glad I did. Is someone's drinking breaking your heart? You might be surprised at what you can learn at an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or go to alanon.org.
Founded in 1877, the American Humane Association has been dedicated to the idea that all animals, including those raised on our farms and ranches, are entitled to humane treatment. Today, animals on nearly 8,000 farms enjoy a better quality of life because of the ethical, science-based standards established by the American Humane Association. Live better, be humane. Choose American Humane Certified products.
It's been more than 5 minutes. No, it hasn't.
Hey, can you two
I
keep
want
it down
it.
for
It's
me?
my turn. No, it isn't.
Please, just keep it down.
I remember days when just driving down the street would give me anxiety. And now, look at me.
Don't get me wrong, I still don't love crowded places. But it's good to get out again.
Noises like that used to make me hit the deck. But now, I can keep going.
Transitioning from the military can be tough. We all have unique experiences, but many veterans are facing similar challenges. Life goes on, but some things are different now. Visit MakeTheConnection.net to watch our stories and learn ways to create the story you want to live. No one can write it for you. Make sure it's a good one. Make the connection.
Welcome back into Where are we? Are we at News Radio 710 Keel, or are we at Bipsy? We're Strategies for Living, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I am so confused. I'm marriage and family therapist David McMillan. He's Robert J. Wright. She's Erin McCarty. Robert and Erin in the morning are our life strategists today, and you're obviously watching us here on Strategies for Living, but don't forget you can listen to us on Strategies for Living. Where are we at?
You're on Sunday morning, right?
Sunday morning, News Radio 710 Keel.
8 a.m., correct?
Actually, 9.
Oh,
9:05 to 10.
9:05,
You messed
Well,
up.
she's still on daylight.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
on daylight
I'm
saving time. Yeah, there you go. Explains it.
Now that we're here,
Yeah,
what can we, as you referred to us as life strategists,
life strategist.
Dear God.
Official.
what could we possibly assist you with that would get you back on the straight and narrow, Dave? Obviously, somewhere along the line, you came a little bit off the rails.
Obviously.
What advice could we, you're not taking notes, what advice could we offer you today to help you and your viewers?
Yes. I don't know how to stay fresh. You wake. You guys sound fresh every morning. I know you can't be.
What a great question.
I know you cannot be fresh, and yet I turn on my radio, and you appear. You hear
perky, upbeat, happy, like we're.
Yeah, yeah. And you can't be that way every morning.
It sounds like we're having fun.
Sounds like you're having fun every morning, and some mornings you've got to be peeved at him beyond measure, or vice versa.
We're not really ever angry.
The one thing.
Well, then you need to write a relationship book on how to, and it would be a bestseller in your retirement, if you will.
We avoid problems. We just put them under the rug.
Lumpy rug in the control room, I've noticed.
No, the one. God, that's such a great question.
Yeah, it is.
The one thing almost 20 years, we have only had one that was even a big argument, and it had nothing to do with radio or the job or anything. And I vaguely remember, and I ran down the hall in tears, and you came and made it right. You can tell where's the pants in this relationship. But literally in 20 years, and there are other morning show teams in the building on either side.
They probably hate each other.
Oh, they fight all the time.
Yeah.
That they will have more knockdown, drag out, screaming, yelling matches in a month than we've had
in 20 years.
Yeah.
I think the secret is, and he may disagree, but I think the secret for me is we both have very thick skin. There's not much you can do to offend me. So if I do something that really bugs him, he'll say it right away, no holes barred, and vice versa. And nothing bothers me. I'll tell him he's an idiot if I disagree with him, and we move on.
I truly do listen a lot, and I'm going to offer what I think is going on from a therapist point of view.
Hook us
Y'all
up there, Mr.
Y'all are going to
Therapy.
lie on my couch now.
Okay.
From listening to you guys, both of you have your egos. We normally think of radio personalities and TV personalities with these massive egos. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, both of you have your egos under control. Both of you know who you are. You know who Erin is. You know who Robert is.
And
Truly.
You know,
not projection.
He says
you know,
something-
you're real. You are real people.
I hate to give him credit, so don't pay attention to this.
Yeah.
He says something all the time. He goes, "This could all end tomorrow."
And he's right.
Well, I've said to her a million times.
Yeah.
Is that one day is going to be the last day.
Yeah.
And either we'll decide when it will be, or someone else will decide when it's going to. But on that last day, and I've said this all the time, on that last day, chances are we would give anything for one more day, even if it were the worst day of all.
Sure.
Well, except for Brett Butler,
That was
who
a
was
bad
the
day.
worst guest of all time.
Who was
Brett Butler, comedian Brett Butler.
Oh, I think I've heard this story.
Yes, it was horrible.
Yeah.
But you know, we don't fight. We leave the room at 9, and we go about doing what we do. Every now and then, if we have something, like now we have to communicate more often because we're booking guests a lot.
Right.
And so I'll have to say, hey, so-and-so's
Have you
on
got-
tomorrow.
yeah.
So make sure he's briefed on it. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't want him to come completely cold into
Right.
an interview. And But that's it. It's a text or two during the day.
I think the other key is, and I think more people who work together, or maybe you can extrapolate that, extend this to any, is we never hug.
No.
We've
hugged one time.
Yeah, it was very uncomfortable. And
at his dad's funeral.
Neither of us,
That surprises me. Okay, we've got some print media guests coming up. I don't want to get into the struggles of print media because we'll talk about that when the guest comes up. But how healthy is radio? I mean, in the last few years with all of the satellite radio, et cetera, how healthy is radio?
Immediately you phrased the question wrong.
Oh, okay, tell me.
How healthy is content? Content is very healthy. You are old enough a man to remember when listening audiences, when radio audiences made the transition from AM to FM.
Oh, sure.
All that's happening now, and whether corporate folks realize this or not, some companies will, some companies won't. All that's happening now is the delivery system is once again changing from FM to some form of digital, be it Wi-Fi, which is what I tend to think it will be. Whether it ends up being a digital frequency of some kind.
Right.
But good content will always be rewarded. And I think a lot of times, corporate people tend to be too smart by half, i.e. trying to stay ahead of the curve or push you, the audience, into what the next delivery system will be.
Right.
The market will determine what the next delivery system will be.
Are the ratings healthy?
We are really excited. Yeah, our move from KVKI almost a year and a half ago,
2 years ago,
working on 2 years,
really healthy, and we're seeing a lot of momentum, especially with this election. It's helped us a lot.
Oh yeah,
we made buttloads of money from the election.
That's fantastic.
Advertising, which
as a former salesperson in the business,
right,
that's what it's all about. That puts a smile on the corporate faces.
But across a number of, to use the term again, delivery systems. There is the terrestrial radio, i.e. AM. That was a lot of letters.
Right.
On the website, you can listen on the website at 710keel.com, or you can download the app for your phone.
Radio.
So it's just a question of
how do you want to get it?
Yeah.
Which over the next 5 to 7 to 10 years will end up being the dominant delivery system of the content.
A friend told me just today, said that she's got a male friend of hers who's 28, who is like you, addicted to us. And I said, what's he listening for? I mean, because he's typically not one of our, he's going to be listening to a rock station. She said he likes to yell at y'all. And it brings you to the word is passion, and content is if people are passionate about what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Whether they love it or they hate it.
Absolutely.
It's the right thing to be doing.
You know, it's interesting you brought up a couple of seconds ago about satellite radio.
Yeah.
And people, for whatever reason, that's usually as the competitor, if you will, to terrestrial radio that people mention. It's hardly the number one competitor, if there's any at all. But the point I was going to make was people will say, how does satellite radio, i.e. XM or Sirius or whatever, how will that affect you on the radio? And I always say, this is Louisiana. 40% of people don't have car insurance. I'm not real worried about people paying to listen to the radio.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we talk about whatever people are thinking and talking about when they get to the office or to school or whatever they're doing.
I know what you're going to be talking about this week. LSU, Alabama.
Nick Saban.
Yeah.
We need to win this game, David. This is so
critical. It's going to happen, Aaron. It's going to happen.
Is it?
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Okay, I'm hoping. It's a big game. It is for all the marbles.
Is this one of those where you will take the victory unto itself as opposed to the irrational? Tell David, tell them her bar is, you're a therapist, for God's sake. You should be able to help straighten this out.
Well, David, here's where I am. If LSU doesn't win every quarter of a game, it's not a win. They have to win every quarter. I don't care what the final score is.
4 games within the game.
Yes, there's 4. You got to win every quarter. You have to be dominant the entire game.
And at the end of that game, despite the score could be 58-3.
If they scored 3 in the last quarter and you scored 0,
That game is a loss.
It's a loss.
So what do you want me to do with her?
I'm thinking electrodes on the temples, my friend. But how many LSU fans do you know think like that?
I'm not alone.
If we ask for a raising of hands, I see a lot of hands going up out there.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people think that way.
Yeah.
So we got to win, and this is one of those games that I don't want to be at a party. I don't want to be.
You want to be there.
I want to hone in.
Yeah.
I want my bucket of chips or whatever I'm doing, and I don't want you to
want a
call
lot of,
me.
Bucket of chips.
Yeah, I don't want you to mess with me. I want to watch the game because if I want to yell at the TV, I don't want my curse words going out in public.
Why don't we show up at her place at, what do you say, 6:30 Saturday
Tell you
night?
what, you show up at her place 6:30 or whatever Saturday night, and you take your chances. Just bring your helmet and wrap yourself in saran.
It's going to be a good game, though. I mean, the
It is going
world
to
will
be
be
a good
watching.
game. Yeah, I think the world will be watching. I think it will be a good game. I will look forward to the rest of this week and the
irrationality of her
and whatever
fandom.
happens Monday. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. It probably could go into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week.
If we lose this weekend, I feel the flu coming on. You know?
We've got about 3 minutes. What's ahead? What do you guys see ahead? I mean, you've got the fantastic race culminating, the governor's race. You've got the presidential race that's going to tool up for all of next year. What do you guys see ahead for Robert and Aaron over the next several months?
It's interesting, and I'll just tell you this, and maybe you got a sense of that from the gubernatorial primary. In that, on the Republican side, I'd never seen a situation where so many Republican voters were looking for another candidate beside the front runner.
Yeah.
And that's Bobby Jindal's fault.
And
no,
I think it might be the Republican frontrunner's fault.
Maybe.
You know, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to, folks, tune in to hear the rest of the story because, as always, when you guys come on, we're out of time.
It's so fast.
Thank you so much, Robert and Aaron, as always. Come back again,
You
please.
bet, absolutely.
Let me call you to sub for me. Do the show when I can. Will you do that? Be
You
permanent
bet.
co-host?
Yes.
All right.
Sure, Dave.
Robert J. Wright, Aaron McCarty, Robert and Aaron in the morning, News Radio 710 Keel.
What's this
Join
day?
them. Don't forget Strategies for Living on News Radio 710 Keel, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Sunday mornings, and www.strategiesforliving.com. For Robert and Aaron, I'm marriage and family therapist Dave McMillan. See you next time on Strategies for Living.